Well, first of all, I hope you enjoyed last month's e-magazine that we filmed at Stafford Moor on a practice match for the Silverfish Festival. It was a fantastic day, and to actually follow me through a match to see the highs and the lows of what exactly goes on, hopefully was a help to you. Things don't always go to plan like the carp early on. Sometimes if you get it right and you stick to your match plan, things can turn out very well. As they did that day, I came second, and also during the week when I managed to record 4 section wins and actually win the festival. So it was fantastic. Anyway, back to today. We're here at Gold Valley. The weather's slightly improved, nice sunny day, bit of a brisk wind left to right as we sit, and to be fair, it's more about carp today. But like you know, in the e-magazines, I don't always cover methods that are going to win, where you're going to catch massive bags of fish. Today, I'm going to be concentrating on the top 5. And it really is a method that's come to the fore in recent matches here and at a lot of other commercial fisheries. Basically, you're targeting the fish on that 5-metre line, on that closer line. I'm looking here today to catch a mixture of skimmers, some carp, and maybe even some decent roach. Now, why this line? It's for those pegs when you don't necessarily draw particularly well, for those pegs where you're looking to frame and not actually win. And what I like about it is it's very similar to when we fish a straight lead in the winter. We're leaving a bit of our peg free for the fish just to have a sanctuary where they're not pressured, and that you can just fish short of them and leave that bit of your peg. In recent matches here at Gold and on other local commercials, I've started like this and I've ended up fishing like it for 5 hours. One match in particular 2 weeks ago, I was somewhere up to my left on about peg 106, not a fantastic area, and just by plundering this 5-metre line, getting odd bites off of decent skimmers and a very odd carp, I managed to come third from an area where a lot of other anglers struggle for bites. It really is a fantastic way of fishing. We're not going to be piling in the bait, we're going to be feeding a few hard 8mm pellets with an odd expander and using expanders on the hook. Now, a lot of people on this line, they use corn, they use meat. It really does vary on the venue you fish. Here at Gold and on a lot of commercials, the carp are really hooked on pellets. They get reined in on a straight lead, waggler line and used round a feeder, and they really do tune into pellets, which is why it's my #1 bait for this line. I've got a couple of rigs set up, dead depth, a nice short line. There's not a lot of tow today. I'm going to be holding the float over those few pellets that I've cupped in, looking to catch a bit of a mixed bag and hoping to put together somewhere in the region of 50, 60, 70, 80 pound. A match weight that would be good enough to maybe win your section or frame from a bad area. In the e-magazines, we like to just go about covering new methods that come to the fore. And at the moment, this one, it may not be a winner, but it's certainly a banker, and it can definitely catch you a lot of fish from those areas that a lot of anglers might well struggle from. Well, I'm going to run through the rig now for today's session. I've got 2 identical, so I only need to go over the one. White hydro is my #1 choice. Again, fishing at short range. It's nice for the carp and it's soft enough for the skimmers and some roach if we do catch them. So that's why it's my #1 choice. A nice short line, about 6 inches from the elastic to the float. Again, because we're fishing at short range, you don't need a slightly longer line to achieve good presentation. A nice short line, you're right on top of the float. You can still let it go down with the tow like we spoke about, but again, you're right on top of it, and these lightning fast bites from the skimmers and the carp is what you're looking for. You see I've got a 4x16 float, my #1 choice for pellets at the moment. Nice thick top, something that's visual. It's not going to fly under at the slightest of touches. And again, going back to Stafford Moor, you'll see the little tiny bit of line on the bottom. I'm not a fan of fishing absolutely dead depth like a lot of people. 3/4 of an inch to an inch of line on the bottom, just to give the fish a tiny bit of time, just to get the bait. And for me, it's just much better. I don't miss as many bites, don't foul hook as many fish. So that's the float end and the elastic. Coming down to the business end, I've just got a strong bulk of #9s. Again, nothing flash, 018 main line, coming down a loop to loop. Loop to loop, I've got 0.14 hook length and a size 16 gamma pellet hook. Again, I could use a slightly heavier hook or a bigger hook if I wanted to in an expander the size that we're using today, but I don't see the point. Again, it's about sticking to the tackle that you know and that you can trust. Just because you're fishing a slightly different bait in a slightly different area of your peg, there's no need to swap everything around. So like I say, just a quick recap: 16 hook, 0.14 to 0.18. The reason for the big gap, this can really come alive, this line, with some big fish. If those edge dwellers just drift out a little bit, this can be a fantastic line to hook them on. With 0.18 main line, it just gives me the option of stepping up a hook length to 0.16 and maybe a 14 hook if things really do go off. A strung bulk, a 4x16's float, a nice short line and white hydro elastic. It really is a line that has come to the fore. Here at Gold Valley, it's never been a brilliant line to fish, but as more and more people are starting to attack this line, more and more bait's going in there. And this only means one thing: the fish associate that line with bait, and there's a lot more fish there. Just want to talk to you briefly about why a top 5 line, and when people talk about a top 5 line, what exactly they mean. On most commercial fisheries, the lake starts off shallow, quite in the edges. Here, for instance, it's about 2 foot, and then it just drops off. And what you'll find is the bit just before the lake actually levels out will normally be a bit harder ground. All of the silt and debris in the lake goes down to the deeper bit, and this is where you can get problems. When you feed on the softer ground, like the silt, the fish tear into the bait, you get bubbles, you get liners. This is when you get all that fizzing and you foul hook fish. By coming back up the shelf onto what people call the top 5 line, it could be a top 4, top 5, top 6, but it's the bottom of that shelf where the ground's still hard. When you plumb up with a decent sized plummet, like today I've used a 20-gram plummet, you can really bounce this, and with a heavy elastic, if it bounces and you lift it up, bounce, it lifts up, you know you're on a hard bottom. If you're dropping into silt, it really can, you can get up to 5 or 6 inches of white hydro elastic out to pull the plummet out of the silt, and that's a really good way of telling whether you're on a hard bottom or not. A lot of people will say I caught on the top 5 line, even if they're fishing a top 4, top 5 or top 6. But now you know exactly what they mean, and more importantly, you know exactly what to look for yourself.